Today we are going to run some terrain analysis in GIS. Such analysis may include slope analysis, landform in terms of geomorphone in GIS. You might do some reclassification there too. Um, First and foremost, you open your GIS application. You can't come to the start and then scroll down to find it. Well, usually I don't really go that far. Just come to the search space here and type in grass GIS. You'll notice that I have grass GIS 7.8 here, and I also have grass GIS 8.2. Those are both installed in my system, and they're quite different. Grass GIS 8.2 is quite an upgrade. I will show you the basic difference before we go into the actual analysis. I haven't really worked with 8.2 that much, but since it looks like it's the easier one to use, I'll work with that. I already have a tutorial on 7.8, but I'll have to dump that and then update to 8.2 so that it's easier for you to run all the required analysis that you may want to run to within this tutorial and beyond. So let's open 7.8. Click on it. It loads this dark pane here. It looks like an MS-DOS window before it loads this window. Watch the difference when I try to open 8.2. 8.2. This is GrassGIS 8.2. Click. Automatically opens fully. And bang, 2 panes. It opens directly into the GrassGIS window where you now run your analysis. This is GrassGIS 8.2. Whereas GrassGIS 7.8. That's 7.8. Now, there are things I need to do within this window to get to this window that I opened right away when I loaded right away when I opened the Grass GIS 8.2. That's why I said there's an upgrade. So to get to this point, I need to define my grass location, probably define my grass map set, but mainly to define my grass location. Automatically, the grass database directory has been selected, which is grass data. I wouldn't want to change that. But I need to come here. I've defined a couple of locations based on some studies that I've conducted long before now. You have Anambra here, Nene Slope, Apdem, BB. These things are basically some grass locations that I have actually worked on before now. But in your own case, if you were to open 7.8, you will have a blank window here. Permanent will still be here under grass map set. Now, what I'll do, the first step is to create a grass location by clicking on this new. When I get to this point, this is the grass directory. I still don't change that. New location. I might decide to give it a name and say, since we're working with Anambra, Anambra, leave it at Anambra. Then title of location title. I might still give it the same Anambra. Then there's this option, set default region and resolution. I don't want to set anything there. Leave it that way. Create user map set. Leave that blank. Click next. Unable to create a location Anambra because it already exists within my database. Well, okay. Change it to something else. Anambra State map works. I'm just doing it so you see how different both of them are. It's not because I'm going to work with the 7.8. I'll work with the 8.2, so you don't really have to download that the 7.8 to be able to work. Now, click next. Now it goes to the next. Now, usually it says choose method of creating new location. It has lots of options. Select EPSG and all of that, but usually I don't really go about that. I simply have a map already produced or a raster already generated in QGIS or any other GIS software. So I simply say go to that raster I want to work with and copy the format. And there's an option here said read projection and datum terms from a well-known, not this. Yes, read projection and datum terms from a georeference data file. That's usually the one I go with. These other ones are possible options to work with, but I go with the second, which says just go to that raster data that I've already clipped out, like my Anambra BB. Bring that Anambra BB, copy the formats, the georeferencing, the projection, the datum. Just get that and use that to generate a map window for me. So that's what I opt for. Say next. It now says browse to the file that you want to use its datum. You click browse to downloads, NATS. Where is it? Okay. Study guides, map production, raster, outputs, Anambra BB dem. Anambra BB dem. So and say open. Now it has selected the georeference file. If I click next, if I keep clicking next, let's just keep doing that. Next, it has now provided those information that it needs, that it extracted from that georeference file, is what it listed out here. And then I need to press finish. Once I press finish, it will still bring an option where I'll say okay or yes or whatever, and then I'll get to the final opening of the window. But let's go that far anyway. Let's see how different it is. So press finish. Said, do you want to import the file that you use its georeference? Well, I might choose to import it or not. I can still bring it in on my own, but let's say yes. Data on so and so and so. Region was set for blah, 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 blah. Say okay. Now that's set. Having generated that, which is of course to be selected now within this window, which is this. Now it's selected. I press run, or rather start grass session. Based on this grass location that I've defined now, I'll click on start session, and then it opens. You can see that it's much different from the first one that opened right away, but it's still grass GIS opening, but and now it is fully loaded. Let me open it from here. So this is grass GIS 7.8, and below it you find grass GIS 8.2. 8.2 opened right away on its own. 7.8 couldn't open right on its own. I had to define some things, make some basic settings available to enable it to kind of open. So, but being that as the major difference, I think is still is about the same thing in terms of operations. File, you see workspace, map display, file, workspace, map display, settings. So it's basically mostly the same set of operations, but I think the major change is that they made it easier to open, just like they are trying to kind of readjust its loading so that it works the very same way that most other software or applications would work. Those applications will open right away. They don't need you to start making some complex definitions here and there. For a beginner, it's easier to work with 8.2 than it would have been to work with 7.8. So that's why I'll stick with giving you this tutorial in 8.2. But just in case if you were to encounter somebody or somewhere where you don't really have access to the 8.2, you can still go through these steps and generate your map product with 7.8. All you need to do is to understand that this is the major difference between this and the next. Of course, there are more updates within the operations of the system, but of course, these updates may not be groundbreaking, not at least not as much as the direct opening, and of course the ones that require some other steps to open. I think that's the major difference between two versions. Having said that, I'll stop here for now and commence the next tutorial where I now talk about how to generate the slope map in Grass GIS, and of course reclassify the slopes to have different slope classes. Thank you.